for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Stockman-fly, otherwise known as Turflighto's ultimate superhero enemy, or to us collectors, finally a fly version of Baxter Stockman. And this guy really is very grotesque. I mean, they went all out in recreating that whole human-fly hybrid thing. It's not as cartoony as the original Baxter in terms of his fly form. And for the package, you can see it's the nice new card with the very bright green and yellow in the background. You got the four brothers right there. Come around here to the back. You got all the figures currently available. And it says, after promising and failing Shredder time and time again to deliver a mutant army to take down the Turtles, Shredder decides he's had enough and mutates Stockman into a pest, Stockman-fly. Realizing the Turtles have developed retro mutagen that can mutate him back into a human, he hunts him down. The Turtles better have more than a fly swatter to take down this mutant pest. Not only does Stockman-fly possess super mutant strength and the ability to fly, he can also fire highly toxic acid vomit that will make the Turtles want to hibernate back into their shells. I mean, it's that throwing up thing. I mean, flies just in general do it, but that whole thing just really is gross. And like I said, really differentiates this from the Baxter Stockman that we grew up with as kids. But I absolutely love him. So without further ado, let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Stockman-fly opened up and out of its packaging. And I'm actually really very impressed with how this guy's turned out. There's a few things that are kind of indicative of what one would say are the Playmate problems, I guess. But all in all, I think that he's a really fun, cool looking figure. Now, for his accessories, he only comes with one, and that is a little tiny all brown bar of chocolate, and you wouldn't even really tell that it's chocolate except that it actually kind of says choco right across there. It's all molded in this brown color so you don't get too much, but you got a nice chunk taken out of it like he took a bite out of it. But the figure, and that's all for his accessories unless you consider that he comes with these wings, which are really cool. But the figure, I mean, I am really absolutely impressed with how this turned out. Now, some people have kind of complained about these little barbs that are coming from his body and how they're not painted or anything like that. In the actual show, though, he doesn't really have them protruding out of his clothes. So the inaccuracy isn't in the fact that they're not painted, it's in that they're there in the first place. I don't mind it. I think it's cool, but if you're going to add it on there, I guess I could see where people would prefer to have it painted brown to kind of match the rest of his body. But I mean, it's not something that upsets me. And then you come around here to the back and you can see that his shirt is ripped, and underneath that, instead of his brown body, you just have the purple body, which kind of goes along with the purple here for a shirt. So that probably disturbs me more than any of the other stuff, but all in all, the guy is really very cool. The probably best part on here is the face sculpt. Coming in to get a real good look at that, I mean, you can see one thing that's hilarious is that he's got his black tuft of hair right there. I mean, that's really very neat. But you look at these eyes, and the way that they got this paint on here is just absolutely extraordinary. It really is not coming across very well on the camera, but it looks really very cool. It's almost like they use this translucent green plastic, and then they painted on the outside of it this metallic, kind of almost glittery looking paint, and it came out looking amazing. And then the face sculpt itself is just utterly grotesque. I mean, you got his little antenna things right here, you got his mandible, you got his mouth going sideways and everything, so you could take his candy around, something like that. But I mean, all in all, that face sculpt is wicked, ridiculous, and absolutely one of the coolest that we've gotten on a Playmate figure in a long time. Now, like I was saying, you got what some people would consider the Playmate problems. That is part and parcel to the articulation that we have on here. The head, though, is really nicely done. You can see it's on a ball joint, so you get a lot of range of motion with it. So if you have them flying, you can kind of get them like that, which looks really cool. I think that's a wonderful decision on their part to do that. The shoulders here, though, aren't just pin joints, so you get the up and down, and then you get a rotation right there. You got that on both sides, but you don't have anything at the elbow, so this arm is stuck in a pre-pose, same as this one. This one's a little bit more exaggerated than this. I kind of wish it was more like this, where it was a little bit more, maybe like a 45-degree angle as opposed to this 90-degree angle, because the only real good purpose for this is taking this candy bar, and you can kind of wedge it in there. It's a little bit, the candy bar is a little bit too wide, but you can go like this. I do want to give credit to Pixel Dan. I saw him do it in his video. It can look like he's either singing or about to take a bite out of his candy bar, which I think is really very hilarious. But then you come down, he does have a waist swivel. He does have pin joints here at the actual hip, so you get forward and back, in and out. But again, no waist or no other articulation anywhere else. And then the legs are in this pre-pose. It's not bad, and I honestly thought it would be a little worse because the head is actually fairly heavy on this guy. So I thought that the pre-pose may kind of distort his ability to stand, but it doesn't really, and I'm very happy to see it. And it's just kind of this wide leg kind of pose. One thing that's really nice, you can see that they actually use two different brown paints on here, although you come around here and it kind of looks like these legs are all brown because you got this little scuff right here of brown, so I don't know if that's just sloppy paint or what, but all in all, very nice. You come back to these wings, you can see that they move up and down, and they also swivel, so you do get some articulation in the wings themselves, and I think it is really great. You can put it on. I kind of wish that you could put them up and have them out like that, but it doesn't really matter. So getting this positioned. Now for some comparisons, here is Stockman-fly, and here he is next to his human version in his Mouser suit. And this is a much better scale figure. You can see that this one was always really small. It was one of the very first ones that we got, and we just got an impression that there were going to be a lot of small figures for ones that are supposed to be really large. And that was absolutely the case here. But I really do dig it. I like how they carried over this very curly hair onto the actual Fly version. But like I said, size-wise, this guy was always terrible. For me, this is just a much better scaled figure. And finally, here we have him next to his vintage counterpart. And as you can see, I mean, there are some key elements that are basically the same in terms of the, you know, big bug eyes and all that kind of stuff. He obviously doesn't have these extra claw hands. I did like how they kind of carried over the limb mutation, you know, whereas the original one had it mutated in his legs. He's got it mutated in his arm. I think that's really cool. But you can see, I mean, it just is a big difference. It's much more kitty. I mean, he was kind of grotesque, just kind of in a general look anyhow, but you can see much more kitty look. This guy's just really gross looking. But I actually really am very happy with this. This new wave with Stockman-fly Interflytal has really been one of the most fun waves that we've gotten. And I think they did a great job on both of these figures. So if you're collecting the Ninja Turtle figures, this is obviously one that you're going to want to have in your collection. Baxter Stockman is really an essential character in the actual story, and it's just great to have a Fly version of him. Now, he is slowly trickling out to various retail outlets. So if you're interested in picking him up, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, you can check out Big Bad Toy Store for their wide assortment of Ninja Turtle action figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that you can keep in touch with me by liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus and by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus. Also, I'd encourage you to check out my new website at optibotimusreviews.com, where you can see all my videos from the previous week, see what I have coming up for future release, and also get your very own Optibotimus t-shirt. And finally, I'd also really appreciate it, guys, that if you like this review, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.